Do you believe that anyone on the face of the planet you can beat in a boxing fight?
In my weight, 100%.
Yeah?
100%. You've got to believe in yourself for sure. Especially in boxing, you're fighting someone with 2 arms, 2 legs in the day, and they all bleed, and they all got heartbeats. So anything could happen in that ring.
Archie Sharp is a professional fighter, and today I welcome him to Woodbury House Art Gallery for a private art tour and a podcast interview. He's trained with the likes of Roy Jones Jr. and shares with me some of his big plans. Be happy, never content, and make sure you are subscribing. Right, welcome back to the podcast, to Stephen Sulley Study. I'm here at my second home, Woodbury House Art Gallery over in Mayfair, and I've got a podcast part 2, Mr. Archie Sharp. Thank you very much for your time today, mate, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
No, I appreciate you having me on, mate, so thank you very much, and I'm very excited.
Can you believe 2021 July was when our first podcast was done? And I'm going to sound a bit like an old man here, but time just goes so quickly. Bit of a weird time back then, 2020, 2021. Everyone was locked in their houses and it seemed like the world was coming to an end.
Yep, I totally agree, and especially for me, I've got 2 more kids to add since we last spoke, so yeah, it's been busy.
The landscape of boxing, since we had that first conversation, this is quite a common question that I've asked a lot of boxers in recent times. I've had Chris Smith on recently. I've had George Groves, the Saint, on recently for a part 2, and I've had a few others. And I do feel that boxing, especially boxing, the sport of boxing, has accelerated and evolved and dovetailed in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years for more than one reason. Some of it is perceived as good, some of it is perceived as bad. Your take, Archie Sharp, has boxing evolved for the better, or has it slightly gone down a weird route?
I think it's gone better now since the whole Saudi, Frank and Eddie joining together. I'm not going to lie, I was a bit fearful for boxing a couple of years prior to where we are now, with all the influence boxing and YouTube boxing. I was a little bit I was worried to see where boxing was going to go, but like I say, I think the excellency and the things they're doing out of Saudi is brilliant, and I think it's major for the boxing and for the fighters.
Okay, so 5 versus 5, Matchroom or Queensberry versus Matchroom, essentially Frank Warren against Eddie Hearn. When that was put together, who did you favour at the start?
I ain't just saying it because I'm with Frank, but obviously Frank with Queensberry. I just think with Frank, he builds the fighters very, very well, and they're all well schooled. Not saying that they're not, but Eddie gets his fighters at a certain level, in my personal opinion, and he kicks them on. But I mean, in regards of the stable, it just goes to show last week when they actually done the first meet, I think a lot of people was probably favouring Eddie Hearn. Yeah. But when I was looking through them, I didn't have it all 5-0. I'm not going to lie, but I did have Frank winning the little competition they had going. There were some quite tight fights. I thought Hamza done really well. I think he's been on the podcast before, and I think he's a gentleman. I think he's a really, really nice guy. He did look like at the start maybe the guy, he looked a little bit troublesome in there, but then he just somehow stepped on the gas and put on a really good performance, and there was a couple other really good fights on there. Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree with what you just said there. I thought the first round, I think Hamza got caught, and I thought, do you know what I mean? But he weathered it, done very well, listened to the corner, great instructions, and put on a masterclass performance. A big, massive stoppage, and like I say, all the boys, all the fights were close. Do you know what I mean? They're all very, very close, But yeah, they done well, very, very well. It was a great night of boxing. I enjoyed it.
It was really, really good. The 5 versus 5, Queensberry against Matchroom, why hadn't it been done before?
I just think with politics, I suppose. A lot of politics behind things. So say, for example, I want to fight one of Eddie's fighters. It's not just as easy as getting... Well, they didn't really speak... I believe they didn't really speak much, Frank and Eddie. So if it's not as simple as getting on the phone and making the fight, I suppose you've got TV rights. There's a lot of things behind closed doors making fights happen. So that's obviously probably the reason why. But now with the excellency in Saudi, they've just put it all on one platform, and you can either watch the fights through the Zone or BT, whatever you want. And obviously everyone's earning money. That's what it all boils down to. Everyone's earning a pound note, and the fans are getting exciting fights and the fights that should be happening.
Yeah, agreed. Cole Froch, someone I would love to get onto the podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a natural thing since I've interviewed George Groves a couple of times, and I do watch him because I do like the way he's kind of fairly direct. He's kind of black and white about the scenario. I do wonder sometimes, does he say stuff for clickbait? But that's another scenario. He was ridiculing slightly Saudi Arabia and what they've been doing over there, saying that whilst they've got a lovely stadium, whilst they've been putting on really good fights, there's no doubt in that, whilst a lot of money flying around, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
He's doubting the atmosphere, and he's saying that most people that come on air to talk about the atmosphere, they're slightly biased because they're on the payroll there, so they're never going to say it's not a very good atmosphere. What have you heard as a pro boxer?
Well, I think it's where it's so new at the minute, and I can't disagree. Some of the fights on there, like say, for example, you got Tyson Fury in the biggest fights. I suppose the atmosphere, from what you can see on telly, I haven't been out there, so I can't say because I haven't experienced it out there. But from the TV looking in, I wouldn't say it's as big as some of the fights over here and the stadiums that we have over here, but only time will tell. It's a very new thing, and I think you'll see a lot of people. It's going to bring a lot of attraction. So, it might be at the minute, but who's to say that's going to be next year? Do you know? Because like I say, where it's been new and they're kicking on with it, who knows what happened next year?
I know this is going to sound a bit weird and slightly, I don't know what the word is, maybe shallow to describe it. I'm obviously a Brit, and I know that we've got a massive fan base over here. I mean, when the Brits go over to America or different parts of the world, you can really feel the atmosphere behind our culture and our crowds. They're like a football crowd, right? We literally bring it anywhere we go. America, I've got really, really good fans. The Mexicans have really got good fans in different parts of Europe. I do feel that within that culture, there is that drinking culture. And whilst it can have a downside to it, it does get the emotions going a bit where people are a little bit more excited. But the problem is the regulation of it, because suddenly, if you have too much booze, the violence and the slander and the abuse comes into play. And that's not what anyone wants to see. Do you think Saudi may almost bend the rules slightly to allow that in to maybe pump up the crowds and make it a bit more energetic?
I'm not too sure because obviously just to do with the religion, so I don't really know. So
But Dubai done it.
Yeah, they did do it. So they may do it. I'm not too sure, but I do know, and there are rumours that obviously they're going to be doing a 5v5 over in the UK. So I think that gives the fans then a taste of it being over here, over there. Obviously, it's going to be a worldwide thing now, I believe. I see small hall promoters are doing the same thing now. I think it's just brilliant for boxing. And I think regardless, wherever it is, people will travel. But I know what you're saying about the whole alcohol side of things. They might bring it into it. I'm not too sure. But like I say, it's a lot of politics. Well, it's a religion at the end of the day. It's someone's religion. So I don't know enough to kind of comment. But yeah, I can see your point. I see there's alcohol involved, and obviously it gets the crowd a lot more fiery, should we say? Yeah,
for sure. The 5 versus 5 then, and obviously the amount of money in Saudi Arabia. I mean, let's be honest, right? You're 29 years of age. You're certainly on the way to world title chances, and perhaps winning some, going on, unifying, etc. I mean, no doubt that's your plan. And a part of that, the byproduct of that, is making money for you and your family, setting you up for life.
Yep.
And I know it's been a bit of taboo sort of subject in previously. People, when you talk about boxing or talk about certain sports, the political answer is just to talk about winning titles and being the best and legacy and all that. But the reality is, it's your job, it's your profession, so you need to get paid. How important is the pay to you as a professional boxing star?
Yeah, very important. Belts don't pay your mortgage and belts don't pay bills, So obviously it creates opportunities for fights for sure. But my biggest thing, everyone asks me this question a lot about, obviously I want to win belts. I want to be down as one of the greatest ever to do it. So that's what I want to do, of course, and that means having belts. But the money comes with it. It all comes in two and two at the end of the day. So if you're in big fights and in exciting fights, and the money will follow with it. But yeah, you need to make a living. You need to earn money. Otherwise, you can't give yourself the best opportunity to be in these big fights either. Like camps cost money, everything costs money, living costs money, food. Do you know what I mean? So you need to earn money. It's like you say, it's a business, and it's a brutal business as well. What people don't realise is you can be on top of the game for a very long time, and if you suffer a loss or a defeat, and sometimes you don't always come back into the big fight. So yeah, money is very, very important, and then the belts also.
This week's episode is brought to you by our sponsors, gymfluencers.agency. This organisation helps content creators, influencers, sports people connect with the right brands, and the right brands with the right individuals. If you want to get paid for the content that you create and the products that you love using, head over to gymfluencers.agency and get paid today. Hypothetical question then. I know you're WBO ranked.
Yeah.
If you had a choice of any of the belts that you could win tomorrow, for example, hypothetically, which one would it be?
Do you know what? It's between the WBO and the WBC. So if I say BC, because the green belt's been around for a very long time, I'll go with the BC, but everybody knows my political issue with the WBO. I've been number one for 2 years in the BO, so God willing, now about Frank, big fights, and the BO would get me back a world title fight. Will get me a world title fight that we truly deserve.
Okay, so this is the next question I was going to lead on to, and no doubt Frank will do it. Frank Warren calls you tonight after this podcast.
Yeah.
And he says, Archie, I have got you the WBO strap ready for your next fight, and it's against XYZ, and it's in Wembley. Okay? Same time, the Excellency calls you up and says, I've also got you a big fight, but it's not for a belt, but it's for £5 million on the table, guaranteed. Which one do you go for?
You want my honest answer here, didn't you? It depends, isn't it? What's the money on the belt?
Not 5 million.
Well, look, we'll have to do the sums, we'll have to do the figures and work it all out, but at the end of the day, money is what turns the world around. So I'll take no doubt it'll be an interesting fight regardless. So I'll probably go to Saudi, collect the paycheck, and then collect the belts after.
Listen, like I said, this is your job, this is your career, and at the end of the day, no one's getting any younger, and you're putting your life on the line. So I wouldn't blame you for going after the money. With that in mind, what is your next plans in regards to the next fights leading up to potentially a world title? Have you already got it mapped out, or is it still in the making?
Yeah, so July 27th, we're back at the O2. Looking, there's talks of a fight. I've signed my end, just waiting for him to sign. It'll be a big domestic fight. Another unbeaten kid on Frank Warren's books as well. So that's the plan. For myself, that's what I need. I think I need these exciting fights. I need these unbeaten fighters to get the best of Archie Sharp. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to deal with that 27th July and then sit with Frank, see what other plans we've got moving forward. You've got the Saudi fights for sure. Yeah, the WBO, we're still highly ranked with the BO. I think we're number 3 at the minute. Like you said, I was there for 2 years at number 1. So who knows, they might come through with something there. Navarrete's just been beat. So yeah, it's an exciting time. That's my plan. So get this fight July 27th. Good domestic fight, and then kick on.
Okay, fair enough. I know originally you was with Frank Warren, Queensbury.
Yep.
Then made a move to MTK, and now you're back with Queensbury. Am I right in saying that?
No, so what it was, I've always been with MTK. So MTK was always my management team, and I was always with Frank as a promotional deal. I made the move to leave Frank to a company in Dubai. MTK closed down shortly after. Everyone's put 2 and 2, seeing that this company's out in the Middle East or whatever else. Everyone's putting 2 and 2 together, and then they tried saying MTK and Pro Bellum was linked. That wasn't the case. And then the fire never lit with it. You know, that was the plan. We was going to go to a new company in Saudi, or not Saudi, out in Dubai, sorry, and then and kick on. But like I say, unfortunately, it never happened.
Okay. And what was that part of that move? Because again, there must have been more money on the table, but also opportunities that were lined up for you.
Yeah, for sure. Like the contracts in front of me was unbelievable. You know, like I say,
could you give us an insight to maybe what was on there?
Well, the first 2 fights that would have cleared my mortgage off. First 2 fights I'd have been mortgage free at like 26. So that was the plan. So it was all after the first 2 fights. Yeah, there was 6-figure plus fights, and then also there was talks on big platforms. There was TV coming in. There was other big names joining the company. At the time it was obviously a young man. Just come out, was it before COVID? Just after COVID, wasn't it? So I just come out of COVID. It's been a tough ride anyway for anyone, and all of a sudden you're getting told that you're going to go and earn X amount of money out in Dubai, which is a great platform anyway, being out there, big arenas. My first fight was supposed to be at the Coca-Cola Arena, but I got injured the week before, so I never ended up actually boxing out there. But yeah, so that's what it was. It wasn't a personal thing. It was just strictly business. An opportunity was arised, come to the table, and yeah, we took it.
And how has it been going back with Frank? Has it been at all perhaps awkward, or has it been just getting back into bed and nothing's really changed?
I had a chat with Frank, and at the end of the day, it's like I say, it's a business, and it's a cruel business as well. So, and I'm sure Frank's had to make decisions over his years of being in the boxing, and it just is what it is. Like, something that was there for my family, I took it. Unfortunately, it never happened. So we spoke to Frank, and I never left on bad terms. I've always had a good relationship with everyone in the office, with Frank, with everyone. So it was never no bad terms. I've always gotten well, always spoke highly of Frank and the team, even when I left. And if I see him at shows or see him anywhere, it was always polite and always respectful, and always been in contact. So yeah, it's never been like that.
Fair enough. I had Chris Smith here, the current world champion, cruiserweight world champion, who fights fairly soon, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it Wembley or something like that? I can't remember.
Selhurst Stadium.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the one. Yeah.
And he's obviously got he's got the nickname, the Gentleman, and I was having a frank and open conversation, and I said, look, when I was younger, I'm 38, if I used to see anyone on TV, from boxers to celebrities to business people that have made it onto TV, you would automatically think they are walking on water, they drink champagne every day, they all have Ferraris, they all live in massive mansions, and they are absolutely made up for life financially. And as I've grown older, I've realised that some people are like that, but there are a lot that are not. And I even heard a little insight to Floyd Mayweather. He also used to believe the same, and he reveals in some of his interviews he's done that it takes a very, very long time before you start really making the mega bucks. So I said to Chris, I said, you're currently world champion. I'm not asking you to give away every single dime that you've ever made, but from a pro boxer at the start of your career to British to European to etc., give me a bit of insight. What has the pay been like? I mean, has it been as fruitful as you thought it was going to be, or has it been quite hard at times, Archie?
Listen, I'm very grateful for where I am. Regardless, I'm not where I want to be at the minute, and I'm not earning the money that I want to be earning at the minute. But what can I say? I can say I've earned a living. It's not been, like you say, it's not no Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and big kettles and whatever else. That's not far from it. And it's been a hard old journey as well. But see, with some fighters, when they turn pro, they don't know, they're fighting for nothing. I had a contract. I knew I was earning X amount, I say £1,000 a round. So if I'd done a 4-round, I was earning $4,000. So I knew where I was, you know. So if you're trying to get 4 of them a year, that's basically that's a good run, you know. So, and then you have to rely on sponsors and other things if you're like businesses outside. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. There's not I always say to people, it's 0 to 100 in this sport. You're either earning no money, there's no in between, or you're earning it really big. I'm just about getting through, just making a living, you know, just covering the bills, just getting through. That's how it's kind of been for myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm great. Things can be a lot worse. I'm grateful. I've got a house, got cars, kids get to eat, got a roof over their heads. Do you know what I mean? So I'm grateful in that aspect. But I mean, yeah, it's not. People see me on TV, on big shows, and they think all of a sudden straight away you're absolutely flying, and that's not the case.
He said to me when he was in a car park and he was going, I think, to one of the press conferences. He was walking past this couple, maybe with their kid, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but someone said, "Can we have a photo, etc." And they went, "Oh, is that your Ferrari over there?"
I see it.
Yeah.
I see the interview. Yeah, I see it. And he said,
and he laughed. He said, "No, like he was actually driving an old kind of Honda Civic or something like that." And it just shows you that the public have a certain perception about athletes, people that are champions, people that are in the public domain. And part of it can be true when you look at the Mayweathers, when you look at the Conor McGregors, and when you look at the people at the very, very top. But it's a bit of a struggle in order to get there. And I have a little bit of insight to it because, as I mentioned before we walked in here, I used to sponsor a few of the fighters, Sam Webb being one of them, Bradley Skeet being another. And I've got to understand the sport a little bit. I think Bradley Skeet was telling me back in the day, at British level, you were probably racking home roughly about 35 grand, maybe 40 grand per fight. May sound like a lot, but when you do the breakdown, you don't walk home with much, do you?
You lost 30% of anything you do.
So, for example, if you were to make 40 grand a fight, 50 grand a fight, what comes out of that?
You got your trainer, management, and then you do your little couple of fees. If it's for a belt, you'd have some fees there, the WBO. For example, myself, so I work it out, about 30%'s gone straight away because you got trainer, management, and then your British Border Control fees and the belts, like WBO organisation, whatever it is. So about 30%.
Okay.
So if you're doing 50 grand, you're losing 15 grand straight away.
And what about things like, do you take into consideration the sport therapy, nutritionist?
Camps. Yeah, then you got all that through, you got nutritionists at the end of it. So that all comes off of it, the sum at the end. That's why I was saying, like, if that's why a lot of fighters, and that's why I'm very grateful for my sponsors and things, because things like that helps cover it, it helps cover camps, because recovery, strength and conditioning, it's all a cost. Eating clean, it's all a cost, and it all adds up, especially if you're in a camp for 8 weeks and it's weekly, and it's like, say, 2 recovery sessions a week. There you go, £100 a week straight away on that food, and before you know it, plus you got to live as well, you got to pay your cars, you got to do your housing, feed your kids, X, Y and Z, so it all adds up.
It definitely does, especially when you've got 4 kids, a wife, and you've got a social life as well. I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah, it just goes to show. You sit there I sit there and do the figure crunching, and you're sitting there thinking, God, I've got to make X amount of money just to be afloat,
Yeah. Who are your sponsors?
So I've got a few. I've got that prize guy. I've got Danny Dean, who's got the Secret Garden. Nigel, Gary Waterlove's got Southeast Tanker Services, Fulton Logistics. So I'm very grateful for them as well.
So the reason why I asked that as well, not just a plug to them, but you're not just a boxer then, are you? You have to be a bit of a promoter and also a salesperson, because if you don't sell yourself to the sponsors, you're going to find it a lot more harder to progress because of your revenue scenario. How do you go about promoting yourself, and how do you go about getting sponsors?
So this is it. You got to be it's an hard one. It's an hard, because a young kid texted me the other day on LinkedIn and said, Archie, I'm just starting out as a boxer. How do I go about sponsorship? I said, mate, it's an hard one. He said, I spoke to so and so. They said, don't do it, because just forget about it, because it's that hard. The best way to do it is just start locally. If you can start with your local companies and try and build in, because it is hard. But I think, honestly, I'm going through it at the minute. Even like with July 27th, I've got my sponsors there who keep me afloat and keep everything going, and I'm very grateful for them as well. But I mean, we always want to add more to the table. But I'm at the stage now where I'm being a little bit more strategic of what I do, because I'm only one fight away of being a world champion now. So I'm trying to. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have just loads of people in and then
dilute your kind of currency.
Exactly that. So that's what I'm doing. But no, in regards of other people trying to get onto the sponsors as well, is like I say, because you got to give back to them as well. So if a sponsor, say you're a sponsor and you come to me, I want to know what I can do for you. So as much as you're helping me out, say financially, you go, I'll pay you X amount monthly, but I want to know what I can do for you. What can I do for your company? Can I promote it? I'm on BT Sport. I'm on TNT Sports. Sorry, now I'm on the big shows. I've got this many views. My social media, X, Y, and Z. So that's how I'd come to approach you, is adding value to your company as well as you coming to me.
Yeah, understood, mate. Understood. Because there's got to be I'm in sales, right? You know, if any business has a sales element to it,
100%.
and there has to be a bit of a fine line. The one side of the line is you're hungry, you're eager, you want to get a result, you want to get a sale over the line, you want to raise money. But even if you're the other way, you come across a bit pushy, you come across a bit boisterous, you come across a bit desperate.
Yeah.
And that's not a good place to be. And that must be really hard as a boxer, because if you've got 4 kids, if you've got a lifestyle, if you've got a family, you've got training, you've got these big fights on the horizon, and you know you need the right training camp and therefore the right trainers and the right things that go with it. There's almost that emotional thing that you kind of need it to be perfect. And if you don't get the money, it's going to make life really, really difficult. How do you just control your emotions? How do you focus down and really trying to get these people on board?
I've got a perfect example, because I've been in exactly that same boat probably last year or a year before. I had someone on board, very grateful as well for them being on board with the sponsorship. It helped me out massively, especially with the inactive year that I had. But it got to the stage where, like, so I've had him over, we're doing a deal, but say you on a monthly, say you get monthly payments, for example, and then you're invoicing. Before you know it, I'm 5-6 months, and then you feel like you're pushing too much, because I'm like, I need the money to come in, So once everything got squared off, I just said, look, I've got to walk away. I can't do this anymore, because as much as I needed the money, and it's nice to have that flow, on the other hand, I'm not desperate, like, I know what my value is, and I know what my worth is, so I'm just ride the storm, and one day it'll plan out, because I don't want to sound real, I don't want to brass myself off to anyone, you know what I mean? I know it is what it is, like.
That's such a headstrong.
You have to be headstrong, mindset, otherwise, because some people go, I'll just stay with him because of the money, but it weren't like that for me. It was like, look, I don't want to keep, this is a business at the end of the day, so I conduct myself correctly, and I want other people around me to conduct themselves correctly, so not saying that they wasn't, because they was helping me out for sure, but I mean, in the business side of things, I don't want to be chasing. I've got so much going on. My life is hectic anyway, it's busy. Like, I've got businesses on the side I'm trying to set up and run. I've got kids, I've got boxing. Like, my life's busy. The last thing I need to be doing is sending emails, chasing something that was already agreed and set into place in the first place, do you know what I mean? So it was hard. So I just said to the sponsor, like, listen, thank you, but we're gonna leave this where it's at now. It's been a great year, but we're moving on. And then we just kick on. This is what it is.
It's good stuff. I want to talk to you about your trainer, or the relationship that you've got with Mr. Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
He is one of the best examples of a person that can go to the top and be an absolute force to be reckoned with in the sport of boxing. Do you know some people say never meet your heroes because you might be disappointed? When you met Roy Jones Jr. and he started training for the first time, was you disappointed?
No, far from it. I watch boxing now and study boxing in a completely different way how I used to for the last 20 odd years. So no, far from disappointed.
So watching someone on TV, you get to see their skill and you get to see a certain element of what they do. But when they're in there in person, what other side did you see of Roy Jones Jr.?
Do you know how he reads the game? Like, Roy is obviously, like, he's an unbelievable fighter, as we know. Like, growing up, it was Roy, Sugar Ray. They're the sort of fighters that I studied. All about feet work, all about reactive instinct, fighting instinct as well. So, and then when I started training with Roy and he was teaching me these things, it was just so, he's like a genius in the sport. And I don't want to just say it because obviously we're working together and he's my trainer, but it's generally the truth. Like, I come away and I learned a lot, and I'm forever grateful. We speak all the time, and he sends me things, videos over. I send videos vice versa, what we're working on, what I'm doing wrong, what we're not. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. More so as well, where he was at. Obviously, he's American. They say American fighters and English fighters, they train different and everything's different. And there is an aspect of that, but a lot of it's just to do. It's very basic. Boxing is very basic, but there's just a few things that that he gets me to watch and study to kind of get the best version of myself. That's what it's all about. It's about bringing the best. He says, I can't change you. I can't make you to a Roy Jones. I can't make you to a Sugar Ray. All I can do is just improve Archie Sharp and add aspects to you. And then him working, I believe that's what he's been doing. So.
Because I mean, I don't know if the people listening to this or anyone would agree with me, but Roy Jones Jr. is in the same conversations people like the Mike Tysons and also Floyd Mayweather and Andre Ward and all of these really, really phenomenal fighters, in my opinion. I agree. They're the pinnacle of the sport, and they've gone through many weight divisions and conquered and got out the other side and done really, really good things. So it's this high-profile celebrity type person, and you're a young boxer coming up. When you finally got connected to him, was you slightly starstruck?
So no, I'm just eager to ask him a lot of questions. Like, I had a lot of questions that I want. Like, I've not boxed at world level yet, so I had so many questions to ask him in regards of being at world level. How did you get ready for a 10 round? How did you get ready for a 12 round? All these little questions. That's kind of what it was for me. So I won't say starstruck, but I don't want to be rude in not saying so. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't get starstruck. I've met Mayweather. I've met a lot of high profile people, but where I believe that's going to be me one day, that's where I'm going to be. So I don't really get starstruck, if you know what I mean. But no, it was unbelievable meeting Roy and it was great. We got a great team. We become great friends now as well as a team.
Yeah, it's great. How did you get connected to Roy Jones?
So I got a friend, Tony, who's got a young boy, Little Lightning Jr., who's coming through. He's only 17. He's fighting this weekend actually on a crypto show at O2.
Okay.
He turned pro with Roy when he was 16. So Tony was friends with Roy, and I think they was out in Dubai together or whatever they was doing, because he's good friends with Prince as well, the same. And then when Roy was over, Tony done the introduction, and yeah, we went on hit it off from there.
Okay. I know you've had 25 fights, 25 wins. I think roughly 9 knockouts that you've had.
Spot on. Yeah.
Yeah. When you look at that, you're 29 years of age now. I remember following Mayweather's journey. He's one of my favourite fighters.
Yeah, same.
And he obviously got to 50-0. And there was always talk about beating Marcialo.
Rocky Marciano.
Marcialo. He had 49-0 and he sadly died in a plane crash, yeah? And Mayweather was on that 49. Then he took the Conor McGregor fight and he got it over to 50. There was that accolade, and then there was also the accolade of making the most amount of money, never hitting the floor, never drawing, never losing, always winning, etc. If you were to fast forward the clock, how does the 25 fights and 0 losses, 100% wins, was that turn into in, let's say, next 5 or 10 years?
What does it turn into?
What do you reckon? How's it? Because Mayweather was like, I'm going to get to 50 fights and 0. Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, I'll aim for, by the time I retire, I'll aim for 50 fights and I'll aim for 50-0. And I might beat him at 51-0. Might beat him at 51-0. Do you know what it is? Even as an amateur, like I went 5-6 years unbeaten as an amateur. I think I was like 28-0, I think, as an amateur. 6-7 national titles. So I've always had that mindset of just never losing, and I won't lose.
Can that be slightly dangerous? Because if you go 3, 4, 5 years without losing, and I do think it takes a very, very special character. I interviewed Matt Letizia not long ago, yeah,
right.
And we spoke about the money in football, and I said, has money affected footballers? And he said, yes and no. He said it depends. There are special characters like the Messis, like the David Beckhams, like the Ronaldos, that even when you give them all the money in the world, they keep on banging in goals and they keep on training, they keep on looking after themselves. But there's loads more examples of people going the other way.
Yeah.
And with boxing, I think sometimes if you start winning all the time and you almost believe in your own hype, like an Adrian Broner, this is who I think about, who just lost at the weekend as well. I feel like they think they're untouchable, might not train as hard, and then suddenly get caught and they get knocked down or knocked out. Can going on an undefeated run actually be a false economy?
Did you watch my last fight?
I saw you got knocked down.
There we go then. Yeah, a bit of complacency. Exactly that. So, now look, listen, it is true. But for me, it's like, that's what gives me the drive to train harder, because I don't want to feel that losing. The only thing with me in my last fight, I got complacency in regards of the opponent. Like, I only want to be mixing with the best of the best. Do you know what I mean? I only want to be fighting unbeaten fighters. I only want to be fighting champions. And I think what happened was there in that instant in my last fight is that I kind of just got back with Frank, making it just, I'll get in here. Because I had 27th in the back of my head anyway. I was like, I'll just get in here, do what I've got to do tonight, and then we move on to the big fight that we want. And then I just think, that first round, obviously, it was like, hang on, Archie, it's a bit different. You still got to fight. You know what I mean? You're in here for a fight. So, but in regards to what you're saying with the unbeaten side of things, as in the gym, when I'm training, like, that's what drives me to stay unbeaten. Like, there's no stones unturned because of that reason, you know. Like, and with that fight the other month when I got dropped in the first round, it just goes to show how hard I train and how hard, because I recovered after the first round. I got caught with a brilliant shot. I got caught cold with a brilliant shot, and I recovered very, very well. And I adapted boxing southpaw for the rest of the fight and bossed it after that. I dropped him in the third. But that takes a lot of hard work and dedication in the gym, and I think because obviously being able to be fit, have the resistance to keep going on, and also be able to box southpaw all the way through, just goes to show what I do in the gym. And the reason why I train like that is because of my unbeaten record. Is because I know I'm 25-0, and I don't want to taste that defeat. I've been there as an amateur. I've had that defeat, and I remember my first defeat in Russia, losing on a double count back to a Russian. And it hurt, so I don't want to go through that ever again, and I won't.
To be honest, when I was asking that question, that wasn't actually going to lead to this, because that was going to be one of my last questions to you, but you beat me to it.
Sorry.
Do you know, some people say, you know, some haters on social media or some critics or some div down the pub will make a sort of sly comment going, yeah, he's all fit and he's not necessarily you, but like muscles, or he can fight, etc. But you can't train someone's chin. Well, the argument is, when people like yourself get caught and get put down for the first time, and you stand back up and you fight on and win, there is an argument you can train that. Can you actually make your chin more durable?
I'm not too sure if you can make your chin more durable, because I've always had a great chin in regards to sparring. I was sparring Carl Frampton at the age of like 19, 18, maybe younger than that. And then he can punch. Believe me, he can punch. And other great punchers through the thing. Sam Noakes is a brilliant puncher, strong as an ox. There's loads of them. And I've took clean shots, and there's never been that doubt. I just think what happened was me, I got caught cold. And what helps is your fitness and being able to recover. I think that, and also it shows you as a character, because some people who got caught with, my legs were gone. If you watch the thing, even though I was there with it talking to the ref, like, my legs were gone. Like, it could have gone two ways there. I could have either just quit or fight on, and I thought, no, and that was it. From there, if you watch it, I had the ump. That was it. I had the ump with myself, thinking, how can I allow myself to get caught like that? That's very, just stupid. It was just stupidity of getting caught like that. And but yeah, I think it just shows a lot of, you've got to have the heart, you've got to have it in you. You've got to be in that sort of character to be able to carry on even when it gets tough.
And it also is a testament to your mindset and emotion, because most of the public, if they were to get knocked down, whether that is metaphorically in life or in business or whatever, or they actually have a fight and they get knocked down in a boxing ring or on the street, most people would lose their shit and try and bash someone up and lose their cool. How do you get knocked down and remain composed?
Having good cornermen. Because if you listen to the corner, every time I come back, I was like, I can't believe what just happened. And like, Archie, sharp, it's been and done now. You know what I mean? You can't change it. That's round 1. We're in round 3. We're in round 6 now. Just stop it. It's been every round I come back, I was moaning about it. So lucky that they kept me in the game. Ian Weaver and Paul O'Neill was in my corner that day, and Richard was just down the side. But I mean, but yeah, great cornermen. And like I say, it's got to be composed. It's a business, boxing, right? It's a business. And if I fly off the handle, it's the same with anything in life. You've got to conduct yourself correctly. I conduct myself correctly, like I like to think, you know. And then same in the ring. If I start going around like a lunatic in there throwing shots, I'm going to get caught. It's going to look messy. It's not going to be good. So now I've just got, right, that's happened. I've got to deal with that, put that to bed now. I've got to focus on what I'm good at, you know, and that's not getting hit normally. So now let's get my feet work back. Let's box southpaw, because we need to take certain things away from this kid, and adapt. And that's what we had to do. The same thing with life. You've got to adapt. Like, I've had a lot of stuff thrown at me in the last few years in life. And I think that's what's kind of built me as a character. And now this was like the icing on the cake. I've never been down. I've been down live on TV. My comeback for Frank Warren back on TNT. And the first round, shot that was thrown, first 30 seconds, I'm on the floor. It's like, this couldn't have gone any worse if you tried, other than getting knocked spark out. So then that was it. Now it's back to myself. I've got to rebuild now. We've got to put that aside, and we've got to get the job done.
Do you know, I mean, I've had someone on the podcast who I know you know, who's probably been, I think, sparring down iBox back in the day, Ahara Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him a lot. And he had obviously his world title fight, and he also got dropped, but he got stopped in I think it was the first round.
Yeah,
right?
first round. Yeah.
And it can happen to the best of people, whether that's a world title fight or something slightly less than that. And how do you prepare for the unexpected?
Just got to train. Do you know what? I was listening to a podcast that Canelo Alvarez done, and he said he trains for everything himself. But like, say, how do you train for that? Either you got to have it in you or you haven't. Like, fortunately for me, I've got it in me. Like, I've got the art of a lion. Like, I want to carry on. But yeah, it's an hard one to call. I'm just more fuming with myself, because the first round is the most important round. You know, you need to be on your game. You need to have your wits about you. And with me as well, everybody knows me for my feet work. And I just kind of let things, like I said, I just got complacent. Got caught with a great shot, and I was just lucky that I could rebuild. And
without sort of doubling down on this point, would you say the inactivity had a factor into maybe getting knocked down?
Look, everything plays a part. Like, dangerous fighter is an active fighter. And obviously I haven't been active. I have one fight here, or two fights. Do you know what I mean? It's been a bit like that, and not the fights that I want. Not having the cameras around me and the TV. Like, that's all part of it. When you're going on, I've gone from being on BT Sport, or TNT now, should I say, and having everything around you and all the media and that, and then to having a few fights here and there, low key, not many people in the arenas and whatever else, to then being back on it, like, I just think, yeah, it was bringing it all back, which I enjoyed. I loved it. I loved every moment of it, and I can't wait to go again in July. But I just think, yeah, but it was definitely the complacency. Some says about the inactivity, but look, it is what it is. You know, like, that's no excuse now. Like, we've had that fight, we put it to bed, and now we move on.
What's your hardest fight so far, Archie?
My hardest fight. So I boxed a kid called Ramlavs, who's a very good kid, done the World Games, boxed Joe Cordina in the World Games, and as an amateur as well through the circuit. Brilliant kid. Boxed Mark Chamberlain and give Mark Chamberlain absolute nightmares. And bearing in mind, Mark Chamberlain is 2-3 weights above this kid, because he's not really a super featherweight, he's more a featherweight. But Ramlavs, the reason why I say that is because, listen, he's a great kid, great ability. But on the day I took the fight, I was very, very ill. Like, very, very ill. So straight away now, I'm at 50% Archie Sharp, you know. So I wasn't 100% me. So this is what made it the hardest, because now I've got to dig deep. I've got to use my brain, I've got to use my feet. That was a really testament to myself, because I was very unwell. I took the fight because I needed the money, just bought a house. And I was like, no, this has to fight. I have to fight regardless. And I would say that was the hardest fight, because there was a lot of questions and a lot of things thrown at me that I had to deal with, in regards of, one, of having a good kid and a fighter in front of me, and two, like I say, I wasn't 100% me. So then I've got to find a way to win. So yeah, I would say that fight.
Okay. And behind the scenes, behind the curtain, in sparring, who would you say has been a really hard spar for you?
Hard spars. There's a few. There's a lot of good fighters that have been in the ring with many great fighters, like Cordina being one of them, Martin Ward, Sam Noakes, Pierce O'Leary, Carl Frampton. There's been a lot of fighters I've been in the ring with. Because
the difference is, obviously, when you're sparring, you can spar people in a different weight class, and a lot of the time, in order to get ready for a big fight, you're probably sparring people that are heavier than you to test you. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, exactly that. Sometimes you use your lighter sparring for the speed work and things like that, and then you got bigger fighters or stronger fighters for you got to tick every box, haven't you? If you're fighting someone who's a big puncher, you got to know you can take a shot. And what would you do if you were a big puncher? You get someone faster with you, someone who's pressure. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm dealing with next. So I'll be ticking all the boxes and making sure that whoever I'm in the ring with now always brings pressure.
Yeah.
So,
I know you're super featherweight, lightweight. Yeah.
super featherweight, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not too sure, and I haven't actually done my homework on this, and I should have done. One of my favourite fighters from the Queensbury who fought in the 5-on-5, and I'm so happy he won it, is Nick Bull. He actually came here to one of our art exhibitions via good friends of mine, the Kettle Kids. And he's a really, really nice
guy. So you know Tony then, yeah?
Sorry?
So you know Tony then, Lightning's boy, Dad, yeah?
Yeah. So I know Harvey and Jacob.
Harvey and Jano, yeah.
I've done actually podcasts with them. I've done two. Yeah. I've done one here with them both, and then a walk and talk at their Mayfair location. They're really, really good guys, and they're good friends of ours. And they introduced us to Nick Bull, and he come down there, and I think he's a great, great fighter. He just reminds me of Mike Tyson. He's a great, great fighter. Would he be possibly in the future in your scopes to maybe fight him?
If he comes up a weight, to my weight, then there's no reason why that fight can't happen. There's no reason why. We're in around the same weight. He's the weight below at the minute. I'm at super featherweight, so I've got to do what I've got to do at super featherweight. Will I be going up a weight in the near future? Yeah, because I'm very big for super featherweight, and I will be looking to explore at lightweight, because obviously Shakur Stevenson's there and things like that. They're the fights that I'm chasing. But if Nick Bull comes up, then 100%, they're all fights I'm interested in.
And I know he's a part of your same sort of promotion, the Queensbury under Frank Warren, and he's currently world champion. You fancy that fight?
100%. Anyone in and around the weights, there's just no problem at all.
Now, I interviewed one of your old stablemates, a guy called Kevin.
Jarko, yeah.
That's it. I'm really rubbish pronouncing his name. Lovely, lovely guy. Or CJ, right?
Yeah, CJ. Yeah, it's easier.
And I think he's a really, really, really good fighter. And before I met him, when I used to watch him on TV, I felt like he had quite a similar style to Conor Benn, right? He was kind of like, quite kind of aggressive, and it's just entertaining. I like watching him. And I just said to him, I said, like, I feel like boxers are very special individuals, because they have got overwhelming belief that they can make anything happen as far as boxing's concerned. And in one breath, it's that naivety is almost like the bliss, isn't it? Like if you just believe, then you'll go in there with 100% belief and hopefully make it happen. But then sometimes, is it a bit like, well, if I jump out an aeroplane without a parachute, I'm going to survive? Is it that kind of unreasonable belief? And I asked him, I said, CJ, if you were to fight Canelo Alvarez today, would you beat him? He said yes. Yeah. And he actually believed it. And I believed that he believed it.
Yeah.
Do you believe that anyone on the face of the planet you can beat in a boxing fight?
Well, around my weight? In my weight, 100%.
Yeah?
100%. Listen, you got to, like I say, you have got to, you've got to believe in yourself for sure. But especially in boxing, you're fighting someone with two arms, two legs in the day, and they all bleed and they all got heartbeats. So anything could happen in that ring. And I believe as long as I do the best. Everyone says, so for example, right, they say Shakur Stevenson's the next best thing, right? A lot of people say how great Shakur Stevenson is, and he's the next Mayweather, and he's this, he's that. I am chasing Shakur Stevenson fight for 2-3 years. I've been on this kid's case to fight him, because I believe I beat him. Mayweather's an unbelievable fighter, but there's fights that you look at fights previously, they could have gone either way. He's had very close fights. And also, timing. Timing's a great thing. There's fights that maybe never happened at a certain timing for Mayweather. Is that because he's not ready? I don't know. But what I'm saying is timing is everything as well. There's a 1% in that boxing ring. If you've got an elite and an elite fighting each other, it boils down to game plan, who executes on the day. So I believe I'll beat anyone. You put me in there and give me a fair shot of anyone, I'll beat anyone in my weight.
We spoke earlier about Saudi Arabia, His Excellency, the money, etc. Let's talk about just some of the recent fights fairly quickly.
Yep.
Tyson Fury against Usyk, he lost.
Yep.
Do you think that Tyson Fury might have lost a bit of the spark that he once had when he was reigning champion?
I don't know about the spark. I'm not sure. It's an I want to call. I don't think his old man helps. I wouldn't be having his old man in the corner anymore. I don't think that helped at all. But I just think with Tyson, he's a great fighter. I do believe he's still one of the best at heavyweight. And like I was saying about when you're at that elite level, Usyk's an elite fighter, unbelievable fighter. He put a game plan in place and he was better on the night. It was a very close fight. I think it was a very close fight. I don't know, but that could have been the game plan. Tyson Fury won the first half of the fight, cruised it. And then all of a sudden, Usyk's come on, So is that Usyk's game plan? We was going to give away a few of the early rounds to catch you up in the late round. I don't know, But I think, I don't know if it's to do with Tyson losing the spark. I just think he just boxed a very good fellow and got beat by a very good man.
Yeah. And I don't know his lifestyle, but knowing a lot of boxers and knowing a lot of people within the sport, you do hear things, right? And Usyk in one breath, teetotal, really, really professional guy. Seems like he lives the life and he seems like he's an absolute professional. And Tyson Fury, whilst I think he's great athlete, I think his personality is amazing. I think, love him or hate him, you need people like that to make it interesting.
For sure.
But do I think he's the ultimate professional athlete as far as living the life? Probably not. There's been examples of him drinking 3 or 4 pints before a fight. I even asked Chris Smith, is it right that someone like him should drink 3 or 4 pints night before a fight in order to help him get asleep? And there's a bit of a split decision on that. If it helps him, but it's also alcohol. I mean, at a certain level, he could go out, drink, eat not very good food, maybe have late nights, and against a lesser opponent, it doesn't really matter. But when it comes down to the margins, because you're against an elite fighter, do you think his lifestyle prevented him from winning that fight?
I just think I was just saying a minute ago about the 1%. Like every percent matters, and if you're out doing whatever you're doing against an elite fighter and not living the life and doing the things correctly, then I think it plays a part. Because at the end of the day, he got caught with a great shot. He looked like he was blowing a bit. Usyk drains you just by watching him because of his feet work, his edginess. Like he can just drain a fighter, and I think that's what he done. Like I say, he lives the life. He's dedicated. He's fit. And I think Fury, if he was a bit fitter maybe and was able to last off keeping him at distance, then maybe he could have won. So maybe his life did, how he was living, did play a part.
Fury Usyk Part 2, which happens at the end of the year. What happens?
Mate, it's these sort of fights are hard because about the 1% and things. But Fury's going to need to do something to kind of get it back, just as a personality. But I did see a video of him, I think yesterday of him out over the weekend. So if that is a true video and what I see, then he ain't going to go and beat someone like Usyk who's living the life. No doubt he's, like you say, he's just doing everything correctly and it plays a part. Mayweather lives the life. Lives the life. That's why it's longevity, especially with Tyson Fury. He's not a young man anymore. He's getting older. So it's very important. You can get away with it for so long, but with age, it will start catching up with you. And I think that's where we are now. So I agree. I think Usyk wins the second fight.
Deontay Wilder
finished.
He's just straight up finished.
Finished, mate.
Really?
He's finished, mate. He's finished.
Because, I started because I know this is going to sound a bit sort of pessimistic from me, and I'm not a pessimistic guy, but I now look at Tyson Fury's fights against Deontay Wilder, and I'm thinking back then when he done it, I thought, it's amazing. He's just taken out this big hitter. But then looking at his fights against Joseph Parker and also against Zhang, I'm thinking, is he actually that good anyway? And I mean, yes, he beat him, but was he actually that good of a fighter? In your opinion, is it? I know you say he's finished now.
Was
he even that good?
I think he was because he was literally at the time. Same thing, same again about timing. At the time when they boxed, he was on fire. He was knocking everyone out. He was the big talk. He was the man. So I think you can only go by at the time, and Fury done what he had to do. But I think Fury's broke him. I think since Fury, he's not been the same man. And in 3 rounds he threw 9 punches, like 3 punches a round, like against Zhang. What is going on? He threw a lot more than that when he boxed, and he tried to knock people out. I just don't think he's got. I think he's done. I think he's gun shy. I think now he's been hurt and he's been chinned. He's probably thinking, I don't want to be anywhere near that again. So he's very gun shy. He doesn't want to let off as much as he used to. So I think he just needs to call it a day.
I know muscles don't win fights, but did you see all the comments that people make? I know social media is a horrendous place sometimes, and there's a lot of bullies over there, and there's a lot of keyboard warriors. But as someone that is on social media, I do fucking crack up sometimes. Looking at the comments when he was in the ring warming up, doing the press warm up and stuff. You know, when he was like ducking under the thing. And you saw his legs, and they're kind of tiny, and people were putting all these emojis up and stuff. I mean, his legs seem so skinny.
Off a different person, didn't they? Yeah, I see it. I just the thing is, it was working for him at one point. There was something through his career that was working for him. Furies took that away from him and took it out of him, and then I think as well, what helped him was fear. When no one could beat him and no one was hurting him, everyone had fear. I was thinking about that right hand. So that's straight away they're a beaten fighter. Fury's gone in there, done the blueprint. Now people are a lot more confident. Think, hang on a minute, you're not. Do you know what I mean? You don't punch as hard as that, or you can get hurt yourself or whatever else. And then Zhang obviously gone in there and done what he done. But I do think, that's what happened with. That's what I think happened with Wilder at the time. He was on form, and he was the man to beat. Fury done it, and then. And now he's done. It's a shame, really, because I don't like to say anything about fighters. But when you're getting these big fights and you're only doing 3 punches in a round, it's not. People paying good money and all to watch you.
So if you were his management or a good friend of his, you would say to Deontay Wilder,
finished.
You're done.
You're done. You've earned good money. You've got a good family. Just call it a day and enjoy life.
Your friend Roy Jones Jr., I saw a tweet from him the other day. He said he would take the place of Mike Tyson to fight Jake Paul. Do you think Roy Jones Jr. should fight Jake Paul?
He want to punch me for this, but no, I don't. I think Roy's done enough. I think Tyson's done enough. I know what they want to do. They probably just want to shut him up. This young kid coming through. But as much as people say what they want to say, Roy probably going to hate me for saying this as well. But at the end of the day, it comes a time in your life where you're not the same man as. You're not saying he isn't, but what I'm saying is you've got a young fighter coming down. He's a young man in his prime who's swinging shots over, and it's just like Roy's the same age as my old man. I want my old man fighting now. But that's because I care. That's the only reason why I'm saying it, because I care for Roy, Do you know, he's my mate, I care for him. I'm not saying he can't do it, and yes, he is one of the best ever to lay his gloves up, but, you've done a lot for the sport. You've got nothing else to prove.
Let's just focus on the whole Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I know it's going to happen at the end of the year now, because I think there was some medical problems or health problems with Mike Tyson, and he's going to be that much closer to 60 years of age. Should he be fighting Jake Paul, Mike Tyson? Should Jake Paul and Mike Tyson be fighting?
No, I don't think so. Different eras, different ages, just no.
What do you think the outcome's going to be? Honestly.
Well, I've heard they've changed it now. They've got big gloves, egg guards. It's all a bit thingy, So people are going to hate me for saying this, but at one point, towards the end of Tyson's career, he got knocked out. He got knocked out by fighters he shouldn't have got knocked out by at the end of the day. People are going to say, but it's Jake Paul. He ain't Danny Williams, whoever knocked out Tyson, he's not them fighters. No, he's not. But he's a man who trains every day. He's in good shape. And if he has got small gloves, or say they do fight as a normal fight with small gloves on, he's still winging them over. He's a young man. He's a young man in his prime, and you've got a 60-year-old man who's been knocked out towards the end of his career. It just ain't right. I think I just don't think it's right. You got eras for it. You know what I mean? You grow old and just be happy with it. Because I won't be doing it. Like I say, I know this now. Once I've done what I've done in my career and I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish in boxing, it's then time for the next journey. You won't be getting me at a 60-year-old coming back fighting. Dangerous sport.
On that note then, Archie, what is the next chapter after you are done with the sport? You've made your money, you made your legacy, you won world titles. What is the next chapter for Archie Sharp?
God, it'd be nice to go and get myself a whiskey company like Conor McGregor and sell it for £1 billion, wouldn't it? But no, just business. I love business. I love property. I love crunching numbers like together. I mean, I love it all. So I sit back, enjoy it. Obviously, my big thing is that I've had in my black book since my manifest, writing everything down, is opening gyms to allow young kids, a non-profitable gym, not for money, to open these gyms for young kids to be able to come through and achieve goals. And that's always been on top of my list since day dot. So that's something I do want to do. But in regards to the business side of things, it'll just be, like property and just building businesses, selling. I enjoy all that. So I've got a flooring company at the minute that I'm just building. And yeah, I still stay in the sport, definitely stay in the sport, but enjoy my kids and family.
You're known as sharpshooter in the ring, but when you hang up the gloves and go into the business world, will you still be known as a sharpshooter?
Oh, for sure, 100%. But just this time, without getting hit in the face and just crunching numbers, money.
And the last point I want to say on this, and also wrap up the podcast, Archie, is I know I slightly knew you before. I think I got introduced via Jordan Reynolds when you was at the iBox.
Yes, that's correct.
And I got to know a lot of the fighters there over time. Reintroduced via a mutual friend of ours called Lee May, and Lee May's been really, really good to me and also my company here, Woodbury House, and he's supported us all the time. And I know Lee being a very, very disciplined man, very fit man, very focused man, and also very, very good at business. People like Lee, or specifically Lee, how has he helped you along your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Lee's definitely been a big part of my journey. And then I've got Nigel and Danny. Like, there's a few big people in it, mentors, being in that. So, like I say, conducting yourself correctly at all times, that's a big thing. Lee's always big about that as well, about conducting yourself correctly. And yeah, just... There's loads. They've given me so much wisdom over the years. I absorb it all. You know, I've got a black book indoors, got loads of black books indoors. And I'm very grateful for their knowledge, because they've been there and they've done it. You know, Lee's seen all sorts of things over the years. Same with Nigel and same with Gary as well, another mentor of mine. They've seen so much over the years. So for me, it's just being able to soak their knowledge in, listen to what they're doing, and save yourself many years. You know, if you look at some of them, it's like mistakes that they probably made in business. They say, "Oh, Arch, look, don't do this because of X, Y, and Z. I've done that. I wasted 3 years on that, so I can save myself time." You know, listening to these people, and I'm just forever grateful having good people around me. You know, so Lee and all these people in my life, they've made and they're still making a very massive impact in it. And we're looking at other things outside now. So like I said, I've got the flooring company, so we're progressing in the big commercial stuff with that. So yeah, it's good.
Good, exciting stuff. Couple more questions, Archie.
Yep.
If you were to paraphrase and just give me some predictions, calculations, your goals, your vision for the next few years, where will Archie Sharp be in the next 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Next 5 years and 10 years, financially free. I've got my own plane. I've got my kids, obviously I've got my kids, and just relaxing, chilling out, enjoying business, enjoying the good things that life has got in front of me. So I say, maybe my oldest is 11, so I don't want to talk about grandkids yet then. No, I'm too young for that. But just enjoying life, mate, you know, just peaceful, multiple world champion, multiple belts at multiple weights. That's the main thing, you know. I want to win at least three weights: super featherweight, lightweight, and light welter. They're the 3 weights I want to do. And then be on the beach somewhere, nice weather,
This is the last question. I asked you this last time, and I ask it to all my podcast guests. I came up with my own mantra, my own sort of saying, and it goes like this: be happy, never content. Now, I've got my own interpretation of what that means, but if I were to ask Archie, sharpshooter, sharp, what does be happy, never content mean to you?
So be grateful, be happy, and enjoy life at every stage. Even though you're not where you want to be, yeah, you enjoy every moment. And don't get content, because if you get content and complacent, then you could lose it all with a click of a finger, do you know what I mean? So always be hungry, always strive to be the best.
Good man. I really appreciate your time, mate.
I appreciate you.
Good to meet up in person, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next chapters unfold for you, mate.
No, God bless you, mate. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
All good. Be happy, never content, and make sure you're subscribing.